Today is Tuesday, December 26, 2017. This is MMA Junkie Radio's pre-show, the show before the show. I am Ghost. To my left is the host of the show, gorgeous George Garcia. To his left is MMA Junkie Radio's fight analyst, Dan Tom. Off to the left, you can't see him. He's our site coordinator. His name is Randy. And back in New York, go ahead, do it, Danny.
Randy, pew, 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 pew.
And back in New York is Danny Okers. Okers. And Kevin Lee is walking right up right now, and he's on time.
Miracle.
He is on time.
This is your last chance to say something bad about him. He's turning the corner.
He was going to say something, too.
Yeah, I couldn't think of anything. That's a good thing. That's a good thing, because I could think about bad stuff about everyone. But, what's up? We got to work on that.
What's up, Kaylee?
What's up?
Did you have a nice Christmas?
Yeah, relaxing. Didn't do too much, but no, it was damn nice. Yeah, family.
Hey, what was that thing you stuck in your mouth right before you came in?
Granola bar.
Granola bar? Yeah. What's your go-to?
So
Do you mind if we take 3 pictures of you? 3 or 4
George,
pictures of you? Yeah, let's do it. One of them, I want you
That
to
sounded really hard.
All right, one of them, I want you to go like that, and then what's another good one? Maybe like this? Like you're giggling.
Frank Mir face.
But we're going to try and light tweet. Okay. And since you are very outspoken, we think the picture would be even better company, you know? I'm down. So like if Kevin Lee says he'll fuck Nate Diaz up, I want a picture of you going like this. But if you say like, I don't think he'll
2 minutes. 2 minutes.
I don't want to jinx that for you. Alright, you got it. So Dan will take it for you. That's Dan.
Recording everything that George says right
What's
now.
up, Dan?
What's up, man?
And that's Randy.
No one is saying
Yeah, I
anything.
remember
Everyone's
Randy,
off
of course,
mic
yeah.
except for me.
This is our producer, Danny. He's back in New York.
Yeah, I know, Danny.
Dude, you introduce me every single time.
I know,
If you
right?
call him Randy.
We know each other. He knows what color my hair is.
Look
Wait.
totally
Hold
different
on.
than you sound, too, by the way.
You do know what color
Really?
his hair is?
Yeah. We met at the Junkie
yeah,
Gathering
yeah.
a couple times. Yeah.
Kevin tries to play a G.
I
You
try.
know, with the whole
It don't
Detroit
work.
thing and all that.
Uh-huh.
But I've come to figure out he's pretty smart.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
You want a compliment? When you were coming around the corner, George said, "Hey, Kevin's almost here. Now's your chance to say something stupid about him before he gets here."
Let's go.
And I tried to think of something. I couldn't think of anything stupid. So that kind of means that you're cool.
You did utter.
Coming up in a
He's
minute.
usually late.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually late. Yeah.
He stung me with that the last 2 times. So.
I'm going to come around and take those pictures while this intro rolls real quick.
All right, let's do it.
Well, you can just do it with the headphones on.
All right.
Yeah. Damn, those cameras are way back there.
That'll work.
Yeah, you have to for a 4-person shot.
Oh.
Coming up 30.
Maybe one looking at them, giving them a kind of a face, too, kind of a...
What'd I do?
Now they're the
Why is he mad dogging me? What did I do?
I thought that's what that was
just
number
kidding, I'm
1.
just kidding.
And then, what was 2?
Kind of like you're giggling.
All right.
And the third one's kind of like, what do you want from me? Like, you know.
That's good.
There
Hey,
you go.
don't you
Hi,
usually
guys.
have coffee?
Coming up.
Smooth. Yeah.
Stand by.
Want one?
Yeah.
All right.
Good call.
It goes because
Hey.
you want one, doesn't even.
Because he knows where it's at. Can you just throw him a K-cup?
Captain speaking.
Dan?
We are making our descent into Las Vegas McCarran Airport. On behalf of our crew, we'd like to thank you for flying MMA Junkie Airlines. Now please fasten your seatbelts and put your tray tables in your upright position because the descent is going to be a little bit bumpy.
Alright, Junkie Nation, it's time to roll, baby, on MMA Junkie Radio with gorgeous George and Ghost. This is what we do and why we do it, baby. All night long, we rollin'! Yeah!
The MMA Junkie Radio revolution is upon us. Can you dig it? There's no escape. No escape. Through the vast frontier of cyberspace and through a sea of stars in outer space.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
We've solidified our combat communications stranglehold. We are controlling transmission. With the use of MMA Junkie Radio and SiriusXM satellite radio technology. MMA Junkie Radio. Commence transmission. Live from MMA Junkie Radio HQ in the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. Here are your hosts, Gorgeous George and Goes.
From the fight capital of the world, inside the beautiful Mandalay Bay Racing Sportsbook, you are listening to the MMA Junkie Radio Show, the only show that matters. I'm your host, Gorgeous George. With me, as always, is the devious and dastardly Goes. He's our ace co-host. Back east, handling all the producing duties, Danny Oakers. We call him Danny Otto on the show. Dan Tom's our latest addition. He's the fight analyst. He'll break down fights like no one else. And, of course, one of the most polarizing practitioners of mixed martial arts. He competes in the lightweight division, may go up to welterweight someday. Says he'd be the champ at 165 if they bring it. His name is Kevin Lee. He's the Motown Phenom.
What's happening?
Good to have you back.
Always good to be here.
Yeah.
It's been a minute.
How was your Christmas?
Yeah, it was good. It was, spent it with the family, relaxing. I've been trying to take some time off and just get back to what really matters and make myself hard to reach. That's for sure.
See, I read people. I have a feeling that when you went, it was pretty good, whatever, you're harboring the same feelings I am. Did you give better gifts than you got?
Oh, yeah, of course. Of course.
Yeah,
but
me too.
Come on, that's not.
Me too.
Yeah.
I kind of walked away with I was firing off 9s and 10s, and I was getting back like 7s and 8s.
Like you got a lot of them. Did you just get a lot but not quality?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I was overwhelmed at one point, but that's because I don't know if you know this, Kevin, but I tore my patellar tendon.
Really?
So I've been hobbling, low on energy, things like that. So that night it was late. We were opening gifts late and all that. I wasn't like ripping them open like when I was a kid or even just last year, But I just remember going, cool, But so you gave better than you got?
Yeah, but really it doesn't bother me too much because it's to my family. Like it's only a certain number of people that I really care about in life. So I gave it to them, and I had a good time with it.
You're a better person than me because it bothered me. I was hobbling, dude, through malls. You should have seen how far I had to park, and it takes me like half an hour. Well, parking was pretty easy because I was always just going straight to the back. Really, there was no parking, but it takes me like half an hour to get to the mall. And then walking from store to store, I didn't have my cane with me or nothing like that.
See,
standing in line, and
see, I ain't that good at it. I had my girl do the shopping like that.
Oh,
I got them I bought my mom a trip. She'd never been outside the United States, so
where
me and her are gonna go to Thailand. Just me and her,
wow.
for a couple days, probably right after the Super Bowl or something like that. And she was like super excited. Like, she was like damn near crying about it. So
that's awesome.
It made me feel good. I'm like, all right, well, she never got to do that before, and it's better than buying her I was gonna get her like a necklace or something, but she don't. It's much better for the experience. She's getting older in life too.
So you're taking your mom to Thailand. And then another thing you just revealed, you have a girl now.
Oh yeah, I guess that is yeah, I guess so.
The show started like 2 minutes ago.
Oh, right? Did it? So this is on air.
Yeah.
Oh, so people. Okay, all right.
Like
cool.
what stage are you at? Like a really exclusive or hanging out or?
No.
You guys will be watching Netflix later.
We're pretty good. I've been seeing her for maybe like 8-9 months now, and we've been a thing for like 3-4. So yeah, it's pretty.
Oh, cool. Well, congrats.
Yeah. Oh well, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
It's been pretty good.
What locked it down? That Tebow, the Tabao performance.
Really, it was just me. I do much better with a girl too. You know what I mean? Like she keeps me more grounded. She keeps me more stable, and she just I don't know. I just feel better. You know what I mean? Like otherwise, I'm just be all over the place. I'm doing a little bit too much, getting into too much, and some days I just need to sit my ass at home and sit the fuck down.
Right. All right. Goes, how was your Christmas?
I can't get over.
Even though I was next to you, like
was I part of your shitty gift?
No. I liked your gift.
All right, I have one more coming.
Okay.
So that's why I was just making sure I wasn't on the shit team. It was good. Yeah, overall it was really good.
Goes, hey Kevin, would you like a coffee? And Kevin goes, yeah, man. He goes, go ahead and get it right there.
Well, now the radio show starts. I got coffee in my hand.
I thought you were either gonna. Well, Dan hasn't been here 6 months. Maybe he'll command Dan to do it, or maybe Randy. He'll ask Randy politely, "Can you do it?" Or maybe Goes will get up and do it. He goes, "Oh yeah, it's right there. Go ahead and do it."
No, you know why I do that?
Hollywood, come on.
It scares me to ever give a fighter something that's not closed.
Closed?
Yeah, like the whole USADA thing. it always scares me to give a fight or something because I don't want them to ever go, man, who fucking,
It was
that
fucking
one time
George,
Ghost gave me that. I don't even want to be like involved in any of that. So anything
Oh.
that's not closed, I usually don't give them. And plus, this will make you feel good. I actually woke up early to get creamer because I know you like your coffee.
Goes making a
Look,
comeback.
there you
Goes
go.
making a
There you
comeback.
go. Look.
Yeah.
I'll throw myself under the bus because this is actually apropos to girlfriends and Christmas that I probably could have because my girlfriend for Christmas actually bought me that same Keurig. So I now know how to operate. Kind of know how to operate. I'm learning. But I'll have no excuses in the future now,
They'll
guys.
go through a couple of those.
I wing it. I've been here how many times? It's like a second. This is like my second studio home. I feel comfortable here.
Second studio home. You got another one?
You guys,
Another big reveal then. So me and my brother are starting up a YouTube channel at home. Yeah, it's gonna be out of my house though. We're still in the.
we do play video games or discuss fights or what?
Discuss fight. We're gonna do a little bit of everything. It's gonna be a mixture of all. We'll do like some challenges here and there, and it'll be a lot of fun. But right now it's in the. We're working out the kinks of the show. We're running a couple test runs, seeing how we move. One thing he does that he spins in his chair. Yeah,
okay.
Keith. He spins in his chair nonstop. Which when you go back and watch it, it'll ruin a whole show because it's like, God damn, it's
He does the
annoying
complete
as hell.
revolution?
Oh yeah, 360.
Or he's just back and
Sometimes
forth?
he'll just be standing there and the whole time he's spinning in a circle. So
why does he do that?
I don't know. It's weird.
I just named your
kids
podcast
got
for
ADD.
you. This is the name of your podcast.
Leave it to us.
But Lee, spelled L-E-E. Leave it.
Is this like just you and him having fun, or is there like a production team or something official behind it?
Well, there's going to be something official behind it. I'm signing a new management deal too, which I can't reveal yet because it's not on paper. But they're going to be behind it. And it's going to be big. It's going to be good. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun too. Something a little bit outside of fighting, so people can really get to see us and be natural. So that'll be my first studio home. This will be the second.
Okay.
We'll say that.
See that?
You think we can pry it out of him? We got 2 hours.
I think we can get him out.
Yeah.
All right. New management team. Is it? Are you big dog like? Those
big
those
dog.
big Hollywood firms, or is it one of the
yeah.
managers that we constantly work with in MMA? That
Nah, it's a big dog, but I ain't going.
Oh, okay.
I ain't going to say yet. It's not on paper yet. We meet again this week.
Oh, okay.
So
are you interviewing them?
I'm shopping around.
Feeling them out?
I'm shopping around. Let's just say.
Can I ask what happened
got a lot
between you and the current
got
manager?
a lot of suitors. Well, at the end of the day, it came down to dollars.
Okay.
Dollars and cents. Everybody who knows me I'm very loyal. I put loyalty first. I gave him as many chances as I could throughout like the past 8 months or so. I actually terminated last week. So now I'm a free agent.
Still friends though? Because you guys
a free agent. Yeah, still good friends.
You guys were like
My brother was fighting for him a little. It was Stefan Patry up in
Yeah.
TKO. Great guy. Just like him brothers. I mean, I can't say enough good things about him, but at the end of the day, it's about dollars and cents, and I'm not gonna be doing this forever. I gotta look out for the people that I really, really care about.
How long will you be doing this?
I'll be doing it for a while.
You just turned 25 about 3 months ago, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I got about another 10 years,
Yeah.
at least 10 years. So and these boys know I'm right on their heels still. So I'm getting better. I'm constantly improving. I think that's what the game is about right now.
You want to put a bow on your Christmas? How was your Christmas?
I like that. Put a bow on it.
Yeah.
It was fun. At times, it was a little Christmas vacationist, kind of. I saved you from a lot of landmines. I should be getting an award for that.
Okay.
George, our parents, basically tell us what you want for Christmas, and then we'll get it. And George never follows those rules, so they're forced to pick his gifts. And our parents, they're not good at picking gifts. So I constantly have to go, no, he doesn't want that. He wouldn't wear that. He'd be wearing stupid shit right now if I didn't exist. And I bailed him out of a lot of those. So there was a lot of landmines that you missed, George, but it was fun. It was nice. Good, always good to be around family.
Yeah,
How you, Danton?
Oh. I thought we were going in a certain order here. Dan, how was your Christmas?
Nobody gives a damn.
No, it was good. I didn't have to avoid too many bombs, and I was able to deliver some bombs myself. Hopefully, they land well. My friends that I've given gifts to were pretty happy with that, so that makes me happy. I got Gozes and I got Danny's, but I'll be honest, I'm late on you. The mail's late on yours.
See what I'm saying?
So we'll see.
I'm just kidding.
I'm curious to see where I end up on Gigi's roster list.
All you gotta do is give me a fist bump. I don't need a gift.
Well,
you're a great addition to the show.
Hey, I'll take his gift.
Okay. Actually, you know what? You actually probably can take his gift. To be honest. We'll get to that later.
It was a medium. It was a medium, not a double X. I had a great Christmas with my family and friends, but two things happened these last 5 days. I actually got great therapy. I want to give a shout out to Paula Marr. She's been my massage therapist for the last 10 years, and she was in there, man, like really, really working the knee, the scar tissue. And even though when I walked out of there, I think I walked out of there with a heavier limp than when I walked in, I felt it the next couple days. And I don't know if I said this, but prior to leaving to California, the doctor wanted to open me up again and have another surgery. And it shook me up, man. I was like, again, I can't recover from this. Kevin, I couldn't walk for 3 months. Hobble. I couldn't walk like a human being.
Right.
I couldn't drive for about 2.5 months. Man. So I was just in the house doing nothing. Man. It was really, really tough. And the last thing I wanted to do is have a setback, huh?
Like Laline?
Like Laline. I didn't want to have another setback, you know? Yeah. So him, and then shout out to Steve Hanoyan. Remember Steve, the nerve guy? He also did a great session on me. You remember
awesome.
Steve?
Yeah.
He did a great session. So shout out to him as well.
I picture George walking out like Kevin Spacey at the end of Usual Suspects. He starts off with the limp, and then he just finds his stride, takes off.
I'm telling you,
he did
man,
that the day when I was trying to catch him for breakfast. Yes. When I was trying to catch you for breakfast, you were right here, and I went around, and somehow you made it to House of Blues, like almost to the thing before I even caught you.
That's because they stopped serving breakfast at 12, and we ended at 11:57:30. So I knew I had 2.5 minutes to get there.
He said, "Fucking knee." But it's good that massage. Sometimes you got to bring yourself through the pain to get over it.
It hurts.
That's what a lot of the stuff I have to deal with too. Is it hurts like a hell when he's doing it, but afterwards it should feel a little bit better. At least I feel like that's one of the most effective.
Have you had a serious injury, Kevin?
Not knee injury.
No?
I've had pretty much get injured every fight camp, but no serious major surgeries yet, which I'm thankful for. I'm still young, I'm still recovering quick. So the last time just dealing with that staph was probably the most serious one that I dealt with from a fight. I was out for maybe like a month. I could barely, I was on antibiotics for 2.5 weeks, I think, after that. But even after the antibiotics wore off, I still just felt like crap. And I still had obligations. I still had travel that I had to do. And the travel didn't help, being on and off an airplane. It was terrible. But after that, now I feel much better. Now I feel like it took just about a month for me to really recover from that. But that was probably the most serious from a fight.
You've heard of the term Monday morning quarterback or no?
Yeah.
All right. So obviously we're Monday morning quarterbacks because the fight happened 3 months ago. But how close were you to pulling out, and why didn't you pull out, I guess? Just because it was such a big fight, and we know that the setback of a loss can be up to, you may need to get a win or two to get back in that title picture. Explain to us what you were thinking. You obviously rolled the dice, but if I win, I'm interim champ. But if I lose, it could be this. Am I going to be 90%, 85%?
I kind of knew 2 days out from the fight that it was going to be tough. I had the staff kind of arose on that Sunday right before the fight, and I kind of played it off for like a day or two. And then when we did the check-ins on Tuesday and they started taking pictures and whatnot of me, then I started to really see it, and then my coach started to see it. And then we kind of had to I didn't want to go on the antibiotics because I've been on antibiotics before and I know how they make you feel. So I just was like, you know what, I'm going to just try and push through it. Where it really got tough was during the weight cut because my body tried to retain it just would not let go of the water. And it was some points in there during the weight cut that I was like, man, I can't do this. I don't know. I'm just going to miss weight. But then they was like 20%. I'm like, 20%? I'm like, I don't know. It's a lot of things I do for 20%. So I don't know. I just tried to push through. I knew it was going to be tough. I knew I had to get him up out of there. I feel like even with it, I still could have did better in my warm-up. When I stepped into that arena that night, when I walked into T-Mobile, I was ready to fight. 2.5 hours before the fight, I walked in, I was in a sweat. You can see it if they filmed the little walk-in. I was in a full sweat already, and there was pretty much no warm-up. I pretty much was ready to fight. I feel like I burnt myself a little bit too much there, and a little bit too much just before the fight. But that's just it's about the experience, and I'm glad I did. I mean, it was never no point where I was saying I wasn't gonna pull out the fight.
Right.
It was just, was I gonna make the weight?
Was the UFC leaning in you in any way? Like, don't be pulling out. You're gonna fuck up our card. Do you get that type of feedback?
Especially that day, the weight cut day. They kept coming up there in the scene, because I do it all in my hotel room. They just kept coming up and seeing how I was doing and if I was gonna do it, and they tried to like offer their little advices here and there. But no, and no point did they like influence me one way or the other, really.
Did they at any time give you an option of perhaps, hey, we can't make it happen here, but we could definitely make it happen a month from now, or anything like that?
No, that was never even.
Any regrets?
No, it was never even. No, not really. Like I said, I'm still young enough to where maybe if I would have been like 35, 36, and I was like, okay, this is my last, this is it. Like, I gotta go for it. Then maybe I would have said let's put it off for a month. But I mean, come on, that's the name of the game. Like you gonna win some, you gonna lose some. Like it's just it's. That's how you get better. You know what I mean? Like, I think a lot of fighters, and I feel like I said this the first couple of times we did, a lot of fighters, they shy away from fights like that. They shy away from the big fights. Nobody wanted to fight Tony even before that, because nobody wants to lose. And it's just like, fuck it. You lose. Like, if I find a man that beat me, I want to find him, because then I'm come back 10 times stronger than I did before. That's kind of what I look for. I don't really look to hold on to an O. You see it all the time. I'm always calling out the toughest guys. I ain't one of these dudes that's calling out, number 50 on the list, or calling out somebody because I think they an easy fight. I'm calling him out because I think he's tough and I want to fight him.
Do you think Tony found out about that? A lot of us found out a little bit afterwards, but there were little ramblings here and there.
I think he could see it. I think he could see it more than anything. And when you're around the fight game, and Tony's a long time wrestler too. You know what it looks like. You know how to see it. I had it on my face before too, and I think that's where it stemmed from. I had it on my face. I didn't take the antibiotics completely. I took them until it went away, and I think it stayed in my system. So then when my immune system was down from it, just all the stuff I was doing way too much work. It just came back up. But I think he could see it more than anything. And Tony's smart. Tony had a great corner. I had to give him a lot of credit for that.
Is it true that you put makeup to hide the
on the Tuesday when they was taking the pictures, I was like, oh man, this is getting kind of bad. Like, I didn't want him to see it. I didn't want him to, like, you're talking
about the UFC or Tony?
The UFC, the commission, like, right. No, I don't know, whoever it was. I was just like, and plus I didn't want to look bad in the pictures. Like, your boy be trying to shine a little bit. I can't have nothing growing out my chest during the pictures. I like, I ain't gonna shy away from it. I'll put a little makeup on here and there.
If not for the staph, you would have had a fine weight cut.
Yeah,
they were correlated.
No, I think so. And even now, when I went back, and now I'm changing up, I got to change up my whole team now. As I'm working with the guys at the PI even more now. I'm getting into their strength and conditioning. I'm using their nutritionist. When we really look at it and look at my weight now, it's just the same as it was before. I think I'm going to stick at 155 for a long time now.
All right. So you mentioned something that we were going to get to at some point. I just didn't want to go from Christmas to but you did mention your team. Okay, we covered the manager, but Robert Follis was one of your coaches.
Yep.
Our thoughts and prayers and condolences. I know that you're probably still not over it. I know that was unexpected.
Yeah.
I guess, how are you feeling now that you've processed it for the past few weeks, that loss?
It's been
mentor, friend, coach. He was a lot of things.
It's been very, very tough, and I think it's been tougher than people realize. Me and Rob meant a little bit more to me than just a coach. A lot of people like look at my confidence and just think it was just like that, but he did have a large part to play in that. When Rob talked, I just listened. I listened to him, and it just made me feel better about myself. Whenever I was down, he was always a person that I could kind of go to. You know Rob pretty good. I know y'all had him on the show. Like, he always had a good story. He always had a good sayings and this and that. And he got me through. I've only lost one fight without him. Before that title fight, I had only lost one fight against Leonardo Santos. And that was the only fight that I didn't have him in my corner. I had Robert Drysdale instead.
Oh, wow.
And after that fight, I remember sitting in the back room. You know, Leo hit me with a good punch. What it is. I'm sitting in the back. They're checking on me. And Drysdale comes up, and I was like, man, damn, I should have had Rob. You know, I should have Follis in my corner. I called him the very next day, and I was like, I made a huge mistake. I'm never doing that again. I'm never fighting without you in my corner again. And so he meant a lot, but I just went over. I just talked to his girl, and his brother is in town. And they gave me a lot of closure. They told me a lot about, you know, some of the stories, some of the things that he would say, and it makes me feel better to hear those things. I maybe sat over there with them for maybe 4 or 5 hours, talked to them for a while. It made me feel a lot better, and it is what it is now. You know, now it's about doing it for him, and I think his life is gonna be even bigger now. You know what I mean? Like it's hard to say that, but it really is. Like, he's touched so many people, especially in MMA, and he's changed so many people's lives that I feel like if I keep going and if I really show him that it meant even bigger to me, then it's going to be even bigger for him.
Who will handle what he used to handle? I know Dewey Cooper's your striking coach, we can say, right?
Yeah.
Who are you looking
not sure
to?
Yet. I'm not sure yet. I haven't even really looked at it. It's only been, you know, a couple weeks.
True.
I don't know. That's how I'm gonna get around. I'm gonna travel a little bit. I'm gonna go and work with some other coaches, kind of pick some minds too. There's a lot of great coaches in the game that I want to kind of just get a feel for them. I don't know. We'll see. A lot of things that Rob did were on the mental side of it, way more than it was no technique that you could say where Rob was great at. Rob was always on the mental side, and I don't feel like I can replace that. I don't feel like I can find somebody else that can give me that. And if I try to, it's just going to be so watered down that it's probably going to annoy me and make it worse. So a lot of the things that he used to tell me and say, I've just got to keep in my head. And, you know, kind of now it's on me to, you know, do it myself.
When you get to it, is it something that you can feel right away, a connection, or is it something that's going to have to take place over a couple fights?
At least with my past coaches, my head coaches, that's how it's been. It's been right away. Like I kind of knew. With Rob, like the first day that I was at Extreme, that's why I moved to Vegas. I was there, he was talking to me, and I was like, oh yeah, no, like I knew. And then that's when I just uprooted everything and moved over here. But I don't know. Well, I'll see. I'll see how it plays out. Like I said, there's so many coaches in the game, so many great coaches.
You think it'll be a Vegas-based coach, or are you really traveling like with the possibilities of moving?
No. I think I'll be here in Vegas, at least for the next couple of years. As far as maybe eventually, but I don't know. I'm leaving that up in the air for now. But
you're right. Now, it's too soon.
It's too soon to make decisions like that, especially. But for now, I'm based in Vegas. Everybody's coming through Vegas. I think I'm sparring at 11:30 actually with the boy Emil Meek down at the PI. So I'm still getting some work in. I'm still doing my thing. It's gonna be tough to
11:30 a.m.
Yeah.
Well, so we gotta let you go around.
Yep.
Okay.
About 11 or so. 11:15, whenever. I figure whenever it gets close to that time, I'll tell you, and then we go.
All right.
It's 15 minutes to get there. By the time he goes through being,
it's okay. I'm always
no warm
late
up.
Anyway.
Nothing.
I'm always late anyway. Oh no, I don't need no warm up. Look, I hop in there cold turkey, man.
All right, let's take this break. We got to do that. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93. We're back, folks. We were gone for 4 days, kind of closed out some vacation days. It was Christmas. We went back to Cali. But we're back. We're here to support UFC 219. It happens on Saturday. We're starting off a little bit slow in terms of UFC 219 talk, although I did print out the odds if anybody wants to talk parlays. I'm working on one, that's for sure. Right now, our featured guest is Kevin Lee. Haven't caught up with my man here in a while, so still a lot more to cover. All right, we'll be right back after this break. It's MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM, Rush 93.
compassion, common sense. These guys have none of that. You listen to them, so you're no better. I am awesome, though. They are Gorgeous George and Goes.
Oh boy, here we go. We are back. It's the MMA Junkie Radio Show. However, I got to let you all know that you want to start your day with SiriusXM by enabling the SiriusXM skill on your Amazon device. Then tell Alexa to set an alarm for your favorite channel. You wake up with the sounds of SiriusXM. Doesn't get any better than that. With SiriusXM and Alexa, you can get the latest sports news each morning without picking up your phone or turning on the TV. All right, Kevin Lee's in the house, covering a lot here. It's been a while since we've seen him, and a lot's gone down in your career. I want to go back to that night, UFC 216. The fight was really exciting, Kevin. I mean, it was. You guys put on a great fight, and you definitely had some moments. So even though he won, it's not like, oh my God, it was Tony all day. It wasn't.
Right.
You had some great moments, and we know that you were fighting the staph infection, the rough weight cut. So it was probably a learning experience, but what stood out to me the most was you really handled the loss very classy. You many times said he was the better man. And I know that's got to be tough to do because you really put yourself out there. You know, like you're almost a guaranteer, like a Joe Namath type guy.
Yep.
And so when you do that, obviously, you put yourself so high up on a pedestal that the fall can be so grand that along the way you lose yourself. But one way or another, you managed to collect yourself in that time that it took from, walking out of the arena, going in the back. I'm sure being emotional. I saw tears and everything, and still being able to come out and handle that press conference with class. I salute you. That's what a man does, and you did it great, man.
Well, thank you. A lot of the talk, the hype, all that, it kind of goes out the window after. I just let it go out. Once I let it go, I just let it go.
Yeah.
Now it's about, you can't change what already done happened. Like, I knew at that moment, it's like, okay, it happened. Like, all right, let's focus on the future. Let's focus on getting back there. And I know I'm going to see Tony again in the future, and that's the one I'm gunning for now. Before I was kind of gunning for Conor because that was, that's a big fight to make and all that. But Tony's he's always been the toughest in the weight class. He's always been the one to beat. So now it gives me another target to go back after. And now that I've been in there and I see like some of his tendencies, I've seen like the little things that he does too. I will give him that. He's smarter than I gave him credit for, especially before the fight. And I'm going to learn a lot from it. I learned a lot from that fight, and it's going to be I feel like that will be one of the real career-defining moments for me was that fight.
Right. And I believe that's why your fan base grows, because you can not only perform inside the octagon, but outside of it. You really handled yourself like a professional. And I want to say this, too. When I find fighters, because I can't root for everyone. I'm not supposed to. We're supposed to be independent, objective. But I believe that because we fanboyed our ways in about 10 years ago, so I'm keeping it real with you and our audience. It was like, what the fuck's this guy doing, But that's the way it worked out for us. Goz and I were fans of a radio show, and next thing you know, the host died, and now we're all of a sudden there, and just really figuring it out. In fact, we'll talk a little bit about the YouTube thing, we
didn't choose this life. It chose us.
It chose us.
That's how it works.
We're stumbling in, and Frank Triggs our co-host, so of course we're going to root for him. We're sponsoring fighters. You're not supposed to do that. We sponsored Cub Swanson, Gilbert Melendez, you know what I mean? So we're cheering for them. They're on our shorts. And then all of a sudden, our editor-in-chief, who is a dear friend of mine now, a year into it, they bring us aboard as Junkie Radio. And a lot had to change, but he's always given us the flexibility to just be us. And so we don't flaunt it either, Yeah. But when a dude comes in here and co-hosts like you do, and we hang out, as much as I really like Tony, I was a big fan of Tony. I always gave great interviews. That night I was openly cheering for Kevin Lee,
My man.
And so, and that was a tough one because I really like Tony. He actually lives in the city that we grew up from and all that stuff. But it was just one of those. We've
been doing a lot together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so on that night, I was like, damn, okay. And this is what happens when I root for a fighter and they lose, or any athlete. What I want to see is did it mean to them as much as it means to me? Because at some point, I think you guys crossed this line where now it's just a business and you guys are cashing checks.
Sure.
But at some point, there's hunger, you know. And when I saw tears coming down, I was feeling for you, man. I was like, fuck, tears came down my eyes. But I was like, that's a dude who gives a shit. That's a guy I want to bet on next. That's a guy I want to support. And I know I'm not the only type of fan like that. I think there's other fans that are like that, that they want to hang with you as long as it means to you what it means to them. You know what I mean? Whether it's a team or a player or whatever. So, again, I know I'm not focusing much on the fight itself, which, again, you perform great. But all that stuff I learned more about afterwards, your character and all that. So,
look, I appreciate it. Like I said, I just try and give the people the real me. I really don't try and censor it. I really don't try and I just try and just be myself. And I think that kind of comes through for a lot of people. And some people it puts off. And some people it kind of attracts them to it. But I just try and just do me. And people are going. I think I heard a quote somewhere. It was like, just do what you keep doing, and even if it ain't working, eventually people are gonna love you for it. You know, the same things that people hate you for, people are eventually gonna love you for it. So I just try and keep being me, and just go out there and I still show. Like, people say I like talk a lot of trash, but I really don't be talking trash. Like, I just tell you what's real, and I'm gonna do that before the fight. I'm doing it during it, and I'm gonna do it after, and it's gonna be that way. No different. The next fight come around, you know, I'm not gonna change nothing. The style's still gonna be the same. I'm still probably gonna be talking a bunch of shit, especially if it's somebody I don't like. It ain't gonna be no different. It's just gonna be a way different style in the cage, and I think you're gonna be able to see that. I think what really makes it stand out for people that are fans is they're gonna be able to see my hard work through the next. You know, I might not fight until July or so. You know, it's gonna be a while.
Oh, really?
But they're gonna be able to see for the next 8 months. I'm going to be putting in work, and it's going to show through on somebody's face.
You know what I tell people about you is, yeah, he likes to talk shit, but he doesn't walk into the room and say, today I feel like beating the shit out of her. Today I'm going to do this. You have to ask him something. And if you ask him, he's going to give you the answer, and you may not like the way he says it or what he says, but you do have to ask him to get that out.
Yeah.
You don't just walk into a room telling everybody who you're going to beat up. That's the one thing I will say. But let me ask you something.
And I feel like, real quick, I feel like a lot of people, even in MMA, like, they got that, like, to hype a fight, you got to, like, say, I'm going to slap your mama, I'm going to slap you, all this. Like, you ain't got to do all that. Like, it's so many different ways. If you actually study, like, fight promotion, and you study, like, what it is, it's so much more than just, you know, I'm a beat everybody up, because then nobody wants to watch it. It becomes the same, and it becomes annoying. I feel like that's what Kobe, with the Covington dude is. Like, he's doing this. It just sounds annoying. You know what I mean? Like, you get over it, like, real quick. Once you hear 1-2 interviews like that, you're like, all right, come on, man. Give us something else. Like, this what you do all day. You just be a fucking dickhead to everybody. Like, it's fucking annoying.
If he gets what he wants, though.
If he get it,
if he gets it,
if
we're all
he get
just gonna
it,
go back and it's probably worth it then.
I guess, but
let me ask you this though: because you have the loss to Tony Ferguson, are you less inclined, maybe in the future, to take a fight on short notice against them, or if you were feeling the staph this time, would you maybe have pulled out the second time around, or is it just gung ho?
Nah, it's gonna be the same. Yeah. You know, I'm gonna show up and I'm gonna fight. I got the most fights in this division for a reason. It's because this is what I love to do, and I'm gonna do it regardless if I'm. You know, who am I to sit back and, oh, I got a busted up ankle, or, oh, I, you know, slept on the wrong side of the bed and I got a crook in my neck and I ain't going to show up. Like, no, if I sign a contract, if I say I'm going to show up, if I say I'm going to make the weight, if I say I'm going to do this, I'm going to do the shit. Like, that's just how it is. And the chips going to fall, how they going to fall. But that's just the way I'm going to be. If I sign that contract against somebody, I'm showing up for sure. Like, it ain't going to be no, unless it's something major, you know what I mean? If I blow out my back or something like that, then all right, obviously. But for the most part, I'm showing up not 10 times out of 10.
You said a lot of focus is on Tony and that you took away a lot of focus off of Conor McGregor. That guy coming back, well, what do your bones tell you?
I think he comes back. He fights Tony. He don't want to. But I feel like at some point they're going to force him to. Either that or something crazy is going to happen there. But I think at least everything that I've seen and all the little whispers that I've heard, he comes back, he fights Tony, he gets his ass beat. And then who knows? Maybe I come back, I fight one, and then we fight McGregor, and that'd be a big fight. We'll see. We'll see how it shakes up. I still feel like I'm the best fight for him in this division. He's got a couple suitors here and there, but I don't think he beats Tony. It ain't no way. I think Tony's gonna be way too experienced. Tony's gonna be way too tough. He's gonna be too much for him. So I'm interested to see that fight. I wish they would just go ahead and make the damn fight happen already. I hear it's supposed to be going down in March, so we'll see.
Tony, how does he beat Conor?
I think he TKOs him. I think end of the third round, just about. Maybe
so he outstrikes Conor, or he gets him down and just finishes him via ground and pound.
Tony's got a weird style, and I knew that before getting in there with him, but especially getting in there, he just does like a lot of little things, and I mean I won't give up a lot of it because that's just how it is. But he does a lot of little things that are like annoying and that bother you, and I don't think that Conor's dealt with those types of things before. And it'll just be too much for him, and eventually Tony will take him down in TKO. I don't really see. I don't know if he'll jump on a submission from top. He might, but I see him TKO him.
Why won't you fight till July? You want the time off, or?
Yeah, I need the time off too. I had 4 fights in a year. I need the time off. I've taken Christmas off. I'm enjoying the holidays. Had some fun. Doing a lot of travel, a lot of media. I'm trying to get everything set outside the cage. I think before that fight, that was one of the biggest things. I had just moved into the house. It was just too much going on, and now I'm taking some time getting all that stable first, so that by the time I sign my next contract, everything
contract or bout agreement.
Bout agreement.
Oh, okay.
Bout agreement.
I was gonna say another contract.
No.
They're ripping them up out there. Just going here, sign another one.
Who knows? Maybe
we've been keeping track.
I'm about to be under new management.
Remember when he wanted 40 and 40, and Sage Northcutt, and then all of a sudden the UFC 216 salaries come out. Sorry, they're public, but they come out. I was like, whoa, what was it? 350, 375?
Something like that.
Oh, come on, am I gonna look it up?
Yeah. No, it was 250 to.
Oh, it was 250. I thought it was 350. Maybe that was Tony's or something, but I just remember going, wow, there's that raise. So okay,
not too bad.
That's why he's wearing these $1,000 shoes.
Your boy ain't doing too bad. But look, those are all an investment before the game too. So I think I played it smart. I think I'm gonna continue to play it smart. And now that I'm gonna have a big management team behind it, you're gonna see a lot of good things. You're gonna see a lot of. I think people are gonna be more shocked than they even realize.
Kevin, we're in a new era of mixed martial arts, all right, and a lot of crazy things have happened. We saw Conor McGregor fight Floyd Mayweather in boxing. However, there's been talks of Floyd coming to the UFC.
Oh my God!
Yeah, you know him well. Do you even see that happening? Is there a price tag that you think can actually get him to do it? And if he does, is it that automatic that a mixed martial artist would serve him in the cage?
Oh yeah, no, he wouldn't stand
no matter who it is.
Yeah, he wouldn't stand a chance. Maybe against a very low level, but then nobody's gonna want to watch that. You know what I mean? Nobody's gonna. He's got to be a big name because he's gonna bring a big price tag, and I feel like that is so overblown. You know what I mean? How much money he makes and all this. For one, I don't think he makes as much as what they say. Ain't no way he pulled in $300 million from that last fight. I mean, that's just maybe as the promoter. You know what I mean? Like if you see what the UFC makes off of one, you'd be like, oh damn, like the UFC getting it. But you don't realize they got to put up a production. They got to sign TV deals. Like it's a lot going in behind that. I feel like that's what's happening. So I don't even feel like his contract will be worth as much. They're not gonna give him $200 million when they. Come on, it's the UFC. Like that's not gonna happen. Never in the history has anybody pulled that. And if he does, then he's gonna have to pull in massive numbers, and it's gonna have to be against somebody huge, like Conor or something. And Conor, it's just too big of a risk for Floyd. I don't see why Floyd would do it. If he do, then I will really I already have massive respect for Floyd. If he does that, then look, I had to give it to the man, but I just don't see it happening. It's too much.
You think he picks up the phone and calls Kevin Lee for some training?
He should, but if he don't, then I mean, look, I don't see it happening. So really, it's no even point in like me putting energy towards it. I don't never see that happening, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that happened while we were gone. I was trying to keep a look at some stories, and I kept seeing that pop up. I go, "Is this a joke?"
But okay, that's the first thing that pops in your head, right? But didn't we say that when Conor versus Floyd and boxing came up? We all kind of go, "Come on, this ain't happening."
Yeah, but but not like but
this. At least, I know, dude. But we always say that, and something crazy happens.
But at least you had the Conor had started boxing, started doing boxing only. So you're like, okay, maybe he is getting serious about this. I don't think people thought that, or at least I didn't think that he would get Floyd right off the back, but I thought that he would box. But with Floyd ain't been doing no wrestling. He ain't been doing no kickboxing, no nothing. When I walk into when I walk into his gym and we hitting pads and whatnot, everybody's always like, they're standing around with like wide-eyed every time I start kickboxing. And because they don't even understand that game yet, you know what I mean? So if he wanted to, and he wanted to understand that game, he would have to put in so much time towards it that I feel like it wouldn't even be worth his effort.
Do you guys feel, by the way, just as we're recapping 2017, that you actually got to everyone that you know that said Conor had a chance to win or would win by KO, and just said, "Hey, stupid"? Do you ever take back those words? Like the only one there was a guy, our friend John Orlando. He had to wear he had to walk around the strip in his underwear and a sign that said, "I was dumb enough to bet." In a diaper, in a diaper.
Oh, Conor.
Conor,
he bet on Conor that hard.
So he bet on him that hard. He had to wear the diaper. We filmed him. He was on TMZ. He was on everything.
Hey, I get
it. But like Brendan Schaub and Dana White, and there was a few others that go, "He's gonna do it." And sometimes you want to go, well, Dana's a promoter. He's supposed to do that. And I'm like, yeah, I get it, but so that means you can just say whatever you want, and it always comes back to, well, he was a promoter. So if he's telling the truth, you can't take credit either, because hey, you're just a promoter. You were supposed to say that. But if he loses, you can use that as a fallback. Well, I'm just a promoter. I'm just, at some point, give us your honest opinion. And when you're out there telling the public that this guy that's never boxed is actually going to knock out one of the greatest boxers ever. Well, I mean, come on, you got to account for that. That you have to get a pie in the face or something. You know what I mean?
Well, I feel like, especially with like Brendan and Dana, I feel like they did do a good job of spinning their words a little bit. You know what I mean? They would always say, "Oh, he can knock him out," or Brendan had that big bet where he's like, "I bet he'll win some rounds," which he did end up winning rounds. So you kind of like, all right, well, you didn't say, okay, he gonna go out there and he just gonna smoke Floyd. He said, yeah, I bet he gonna win some rounds. Or Dana would always say, it only takes one punch, which is true. I mean, you can say that about anybody.
But I think in the end, they'd always do that final, like, all right, we're out of here in 60 seconds. Final prediction, All those people that gave a final prediction, I just don't know that they accounted for that.
Yeah, I don't think they did.
Yeah, that was some ridiculousness there. It really was. Okay, and if we get into Floyd coming to MMA, I'm gonna lose my shit. Like that one's gonna be tough.
Yeah,
I already went through 2 months of the other thing, and it was big money and all that. But all right,
if he wanted to make it competitive, if he wanted to make a fight, I would say Mighty Mouse. The only problem is that Mighty Mouse doesn't, because people don't realize, like, Floyd's the size of a flyweight. He's the size of a 125 pounder. I mean, in MMA, it's so much different. In boxing, he can kind of, you can hold off the size. The guy isn't leaning on you. He isn't wrestling with you. And he's not throwing you around in the clinch too much. You saw even from Floyd, like, I mean, he gave up his back so much against Conor, and kind of he looked to the ref to save him. In MMA, it ain't going to be none of that. He's got to go against somebody his own size, which would be somebody like Mighty Mouse. It's hard to promote that, It's hard for the public, I feel like, to really get behind that and say, okay, we got the greatest boxer of all time against the smallest UFC fighter.
They may just tune in to see him get his ass kicked, though.
That's true. That's true.
You know what I mean?
I mean, maybe, but I think Floyd would know that, and he would just get his ass kicked so bad that.
And even if it's a loss, what does he care? He's 50-0 in boxing, right?
Yeah. But now you got all that money.
But I don't think he'll make that much money.
I don't think the embarrassment. I think Floyd knows. I mean, he would get embarrassed. I mean, Demetrius would play around with him. He'd get him on the ground. And he'd spin him like a top, and Floyd wouldn't know what to do. He'd just be sitting there.
That was what was so intriguing about what Demetrius said was, "I'll fight you, but my caveat is we won't wrestle, we won't grapple."
Yeah, but
doesn't mean he can't throw kicks, right? Which you could
I didn't hear him say that. Okay,
yeah, that's what he said. He said, "Give me the fight. We won't grapple. We won't hit the ground."
And the embarrassment thing wears off. Like James Toney, I guess he got embarrassed, but he cashed $500,000 and he needed it at the time against Couture. CM Punk, I mean, see, here's the thing, Kev. They go in there and they get waxed, but they already have this resume because CM Punk made it to being a WWE champion. So did James Toney. So I think at any point you can still wake up and go, man, I was a master of a sport over here. I dabbled, I got paid, blah, blah, blah. Plus, Money May's going to look at it like, I win some, I lose some. Didn't he go to WWE and they wrote a script where he came out the winner? And this one, he's just not going to come out the winner. You know what I mean?
But
Broke the big
I
show's
don't
nose.
know. I think he would carry so much of – he would carry boxing on his back too. And it would embarrass the whole sport. The rules will finally be up. I mean, we all know it. Whoever's a hardcore MMA fan especially really know it, that these boxers ain't real fighters. You know, on the streets, they get murdered in a couple seconds. I think he would carry that weight so bad that it would, you know, that it would embarrass the whole sport, really. The rules will finally be up. It'd be like in the 90s where, you know, all the karate guys were like, oh, we're the most deadliest. And they're like, nah, you got a bunch of bullshit, you know, like where the guy's just staring at you and you flying across the room or something. That's what boxing would be. That's what it is. And I think they're happy that Conor lost to Floyd. To kind of hold that, but if Floyd was to come over here and try that, I mean, it would be too much, and I think he would have too many people in his ear telling him not to do it too.
All right, folks, last break. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93. Stay close. We'll be right back to continue our Tuesday show here, December 26th, day after Christmas. I hope you all had a happy holiday season. It continues through, obviously, the New Year's, and we will be here because UFC 219 is on Saturday. All right, we'll be right back.
They pat down TSA agents because they don't know where those people have been, and because they can. They are Gorgeous George and Goes, and this is MMA Junkie Radio.
It's Championship Tuesday on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. Celebrate with subscribers across the country who won their Fantasy Football League championships. Call in and talk about the players who brought you to victory, or shout about the one what went wrong for your team. Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio for subscribers who play fantasy football. Sirius 210, XM87, and on the SiriusXM app. Happy holidays. Let's take a quick call. We got Kevin Lee for about another 10-15. We'll take this call, and then we'll give some predictions on UFC 219, and then we got to find out who he's fighting next, right, or who he wants to fight next. We've gone through the Sage era, the Habib era, the Conor era. Looks like we're in the Tony era right now, but to get to Tony, there'll probably have to be a key fight that he'll need to take somewhere along the line. We'll see if we can narrow that down. Dan from Oregon, you got about 90 seconds. What's up, bud?
What up, gentlemen? Kevin Lee, man, the only talks I remember you having around the time of your last fight was about how 165 pounds was what was next for you. Are you going to, I think you should go have some chats with Andy Foster, maybe try to bring him in the UFC. Let's get this division going. I don't see why it hasn't happened yet. I agree with almost every point you've ever made as far as that division goes. I'm thinking there's a couple of 170ers out there that don't belong in that division. I'd love to see you fight them. What about Gunnar Nelson? What about Yancy Medeiros coming off of maybe the fight of the year? Those are two guys that I think belong in that division there with you. And can we call out Ali Abdelaziz, man? He's out here making promises for his fighters, saying they're going to come in on short notice, and these guys don't want to do it. We got fake videos going on. I don't know what the heck's going on. Jimmy Rivera, you haven't lost in like 20 fights. I'm going to watch you no matter what your next fight is. I hope you get a big one. Back to you guys, though.
All right, see you, Dan.
Yeah,
we got to figure that out. What the latest is with Rivera and Lineker. I don't know if you've kept up with it. I haven't, I'll be honest. But let me have you answer that when we come back. It's the top of the hour. It's MMA Junkie Radio on SiriusXM Rush 93. It's a quick break. We'll come back with Kevin Lee.
Time if you see it once, you'll never be the same again.
Finally got him to move to one song. This has been years in the making, you guys.
This counts. This makes up for a lot of them though, because he was really moving when it first started.
So you feel like you've been at the club all night. You've asked the girl, 10 different girls to dance. None of them were feeling you. Finally, right before last call, a girl said, all right, I'll dance with you.
Yeah, I've been DJing. Every time I throw on a record, I look at Kevin, and Kevin will just kind of go, or something like that, or he'll check his phone. I've never got a reaction out of him. This is the first time.
Who out of Kevin, Dan, or Ghost can catch me up on Rivera versus Marlon Moraes?
Yeah, so...
Or, well, it was going to be Lineker. He said he had a tooth infection.
He had a tooth infection.
He fell out.
Wisdom teeth, right? We heard that from Cub Swanson, what that can do to a fighter. He couldn't do it. So
Moraes goes, I'm your guy. I thought I said that, right? Or he said that?
He's been calling for that for a while.
Right.
So finally he felt like he had cornered Jimmy Rivera and gave him what had him in a situation where he had to take the fight. However, he couldn't make the weight. They went back and forth. How about 5 pounds? How about 10 pounds? And it seemed like that was what Marlon could have done, was 10 pounds, but still nothing. So it looks like Jimmy Rivera's just not going to fight.
He's just not fighting, huh?
Yep, 138, 140, and 146 were the three weights apparently that were proposed. I don't know what's going on.
So then why is Marlon calling him out if he's not going to show up?
I don't know.
That's what we're trying to figure out.
Makes me think maybe negotiating things. Wasn't Marlon trying to fight out a contract? Was why he was taking these fights in the first place?
Maybe the holidays. Who knows?
Could be in a position where he could be in leverage to save the day. Maybe he might have. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It's all speculation, obviously, but there's all stories on both sides.
Well, that sucks. We lose a great fight.
Yeah.
And so I know you got to get going soon. Real quick, Home or Cyborg?
Home's a live dog in that. I like Home. If I was betting, I would do Home. I think people are. I think she's gonna shock a lot of people with when Cyborg. I think she can be a lot smarter. You kind of look at that point fighting style and her throwing her hands out and not really trying to hit the person, but she does much better when someone's overly aggressive. And I feel like Cyborg's gonna come out, try and take her head off, and if she doesn't, then it's gonna be a long night for Cyborg. She's gonna sit at the end of a lot of those punches and kicks. And Holmes a great counter striker. She got great movement. She does better against aggressive opponents, and I think that Cyborg probably will get a little tired in there. So we'll see. I like the fight, especially at 3-1. I would go with Holmes for sure.
Your boy Habib versus Barbosa.
It's gonna be close. It's gonna come down to the wire. I feel like Barbosa should win it if he wasn't such a bitch. He's gonna bitch out like halfway through the fight, and he's gonna let let Khabib take over just because he can't out wrestle Khabib. So he's gonna be like hesitant at first. I think he's gonna land like a lot of good stuff at first, and he should win the first round. I feel like the second round he'll probably start off winning, and then eventually that wrestling will catch up to him. You got to be able to do it all these days, especially with somebody like Khabib, who that wrestling is such like a nullifier. So I don't know. I'm gonna be watching it close. I like either one of those as the next fight. So we'll see. I've been pushing for that Khabib fight for so long. I'm still pushing for it. I like that fight. It's gonna be good for me.
You feel like Tony might fight Conor in March, and so you'd like the winner of Barbosa and Khabib sometime between April and July, maybe?
Yeah, I like that. I mean, I feel like that's still a great spot for me. I feel like we still all, it's a lot of us up in that same little mix. So we'll see. We'll see how that works out. If we'll see how this fight kind of goes down. I know Justin and Eddie are talking about fighting too. So, I like the.
They want to do a rematch?
Fight. I like the Eddie. No, I mean, fighting me. So,
we'll
see. I like the Eddie fight a lot. I like the winner of this. I like the loser of it, depending, because I think it's gonna be a close fight. We'll see. It's gonna be close. I think it'll come down to the wire. I'm giving it to Khabib, but it might be like a split decision.
What about? Let me phrase it this way. How would you like your 2018 to look?
2-3 fights probably. Take a long time. I'm gonna take a while at the beginning of the year, but then when I come back, people are gonna see something totally different. They're gonna see a brand new me, and I think it's gonna get a lot of people excited about it. So the first time I come will be a big fight. The second one will be even bigger, and then I'm starting off 2019 on the strong foot. We'll see. I think 2019 for sure I'll be back in the title fight.
I thought you could get there in 2018.
Yeah. I probably could, but I probably could. I ain't gonna lie,
because you're marketable. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know that too. I probably could at the end of next year, but I'm gonna take some time. I'm a slow roll myself into it. Once I get that title, I'm gonna hold on to it for a long time. So that's where all the gears are towards. That's where I'm pushing towards. Right now, it's just about getting better. It's not even about, like, you know, some fighters after they lose, they just want to get it back. You know what I mean? I want to fight somebody and just so I can feel good. Like, I already feel good about myself. I'm good. So I'm gonna get better. This is the time where I can really learn, really play with my game. And then when I step back into the cage, it's gonna be a brand new me.
So, Dan from Oregon asked the question, and I just, you know, he was talking about 165. You really want the division. Then we started talking during the commercial. You like the idea that we threw out. If GSP continues to fight, him versus Tyron Woodley, the winner is the 170-pound champ. Maybe even we can give the label of greatest to Woodley if he beats St. Pierre, even though he will have only had 4 title defenses versus St. Pierre got the 9. But still, he beat St. Pierre. And if St. Pierre wins, then that's it. For sure is it. But more importantly, the division goes away and 65 and 75 get created. Did you like that? You seem warm to that.
I love that time frame.
So do I.
You know, they come back. You got the greatest welterweight of all time versus the current welterweight, and then they retire the belt, and we do what makes more sense that they should have did in the first place. It doesn't make sense to me that we keep doing something that everybody knows doesn't make sense. Everybody's just looking at it like, okay, but it's always been this way. Well, it's like, why has it always been this way? It's just because it always been. Like, all right, well, it don't make sense. So now's the time for, I feel like MMA is right on that verge of really, really crossing into the mainstream. You know, it already is, but now it's about to be even bigger. We might as well clean up like these little regulations and these little nuances. I wish more guys would step up and talk about 165 just the same way as 175. But, you know, I mean, I think everybody's just so status quo all the goddamn time. But, you know, we'll see. I like that time frame. I love 165. I think they should have did it for a while. And I'm going to keep pushing for it.
I think they will. For some reason, when you were talking about it a lot earlier in the year, and the fact that you were hanging out the UFC PI, and I think you had shared with us that you had a good long sit down with Dana, I was like, he must have heard something. He must be on to something. And that's why I thought it was going to happen.
No, I've mostly been talking to Nowitzki about that because Nowitzki's in charge of the health and safety, and he's all for it. So I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to really make sure we put a lot of marketing towards it. I think that's what really is the big holdup. You know, they don't want to separate 2 divisions, and now you got to restart. Now you got to do everything over again. But sometimes a fresh start, I feel like, is the best start. Like that's what I'm on right now. And I feel like even with a new weight class, it can even make more sense.
You were cool with not fighting in Detroit?
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Now it's going to be, when it comes back, it's going to be so much bigger. So when I was down in Detroit, I enjoyed, like, just sitting back. They had a bunch of great fights. The energy level in the building was a little off, especially for how great the fights were.
Wow, the fights were awesome, yeah.
Yeah, I know, but you know, you had a couple even reporters coming out from the Detroit Free Press that were talking shit about the event. I mean, it was a great event. I just felt like the energy was a little off. I feel like somebody like me, I would have brought a lot more energy to the building. I would have brought the city out a lot. You know, I don't think that they got a fair shake on it, especially for how great that event was. And I feel like next time they come, I'm gonna bring the whole city out, and we really gonna get it hype. It's gonna be way bigger.
You gonna own that arena?
Oh yeah,
you know how Floyd kind of owns the MGM Grand. I think it's his. He, no matter what happens in that arena, he kind of owns it. Is there anywhere in Vegas or Detroit that you could say Kevin Lee owns that place?
We'll see. Little Caesars might be it.
A club, nothing.
Little Caesars might be it. Little Caesars is huge. It's nice as hell too. Detroit, the downtown Detroit has just changed so much.
Oh, Little Caesars is in downtown Detroit.
Yeah, it's in downtown.
It's not the one where the Pistons played in Auburn Hills.
No sir. It's they rebuilt the whole downtown area. Even when I was there, I was shocked. That, you know, it had been a while since I've been downtown. I was like, man, everything is, you know, now is white folks walking around, not, you know, checking it. You know, not holding on to their purses and making sure. And it's nice.
Come on,
there,
man! I've been to Detroit.
It's nice.
I never felt like it was that bad. I mean, I guess
it was nice now. It wasn't before, but it's nice now. I love it. Like I was talking about buying a little condo there or something, and just keeping always my home base set.
They got a Whole Foods.
Couple Whole Foods.
Oh, yeah.
I think they had like 2 or 3.
They have a Whole Foods. Yeah. You can walk around with. You don't have to put the strap over your neck. You just kind of have it here.
Exactly.
That's the rule.
Really?
Yeah. If you have a Whole Foods where you live, then you don't have to put the strap over. You could just put it right here.
All right, last question. How many times have you been tested in 2017? You brought up Nowitzki. I'm curious about USADA.
2017?
You get tested a lot or no?
Yeah, maybe like 5 times.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
Any
a lot before
any good
the fight.
stories? Wasn't he part of the group that we tried to punk at the military base when they thought somebody was showing up?
Yeah. That was probably about.
You ever have any uncomfortable stories, or is it always just all right? They're doing what they're doing. Like, are you a 6 a.m. guy, or I can't piss, so he's in my living room for 8 hours? Or
there was one where the girl, she just like brought her dad with her. I don't know if I don't know.
I think they travel together.
Is that what it is? Does he? I don't know.
Oh, he's got
a
witness because she can't witness.
Yeah, I don't know if he works for USADA though, because just from the feel, and the vibe. He didn't really know what he was talking about. He didn't. I don't even think he knew what MMA was really. It just was like
he's just there because a male has to be present for a male.
Probably, but he was just like somebody's dad, and he's like making dad jokes, and it kind of threw me off. It did make me almost like wanted to pull an auto on him, and I was like, hold on, who's this motherfucker just walking into my house? Like, it's somebody's dad and his girl, and I don't know if
what if it's actually a Las Vegas pervert and he set up this whole little sting,
He tells
the girl, hey, you pretend you're with USADA. I just like checking dudes out, and next thing you know, you talk to USADA and you find out, oh, that wasn't even our guy.
Well, then I'm about to get some, your boy about to come up on the check because I got a good lawyer now, so we'll see.
All right, there's nothing to plug on the way out because YouTube hasn't been set up yet, right?
It hasn't been set up officially yet.
So we'll just look forward to it or something?
I do like that name,
yeah.
Phenom Sense.
Phenom like that one?
Look, you coming up
podcast names.
Look,
Phenom Sense.
I might have to.
Part of nonsense is you playing off that? Okay.
I mean, you got something going on there. We gonna have to catch up a little bit later on that. But the YouTube channel will be coming. It might be like a mix between a YouTube and a podcast.
What about the Fox set? Are we gonna see you ever there?
Yeah. That for sure. Right now I'm trying to get everything set up with the management because then that's gonna determine a lot of my next deals.
You're like in the final. Are there multiple managers fighting for you, or is it just you trying to solidify?
There's multiple that want me. But right now I'm trying to solidify the one, and I'm pretty sure on the one I'm sticking with. I'm not going to announce it now because they ain't paying me shit. So when I got something on the like actually on paper, then I'll come back in and we'll sit down and we'll it's gonna be big.
I don't want to meek. I don't want to have any problems with them. So thank you very much for stopping by,
my man.
Punch him in the nose for us though, if you can.
I got you. I think I'll hit that.
We're gonna take a quick break. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Russian 83. That was Kevin Lee. You can follow him on Twitter at Motown Phenom. All right, Kev. Thanks for stopping by, and I know 2017 had some rough moments. I know you'll have a great 2018 though.
We starting off fresh.
All right, we'll be right back, folks.
They can drink Mentos-flavored Diet Coke without their stomachs giving a single fuck. They are Gorgeous George and Goes. And this is MMA Junkie Radio.
All right, that was Kevin Lee. He's the Motown Phenom. Great catching up with him. Lots happened since we caught up last. The last time we talked to him was before UFC 216. That could have been the biggest night of his life, but he came up a little short. He performed, but first of all, he had weight cutting issues that I think were linked to the staph infection, and then the staph I think affected the performance. But what I'm not trying to say is that without that, Tony can't win, because Tony's like 14-1 in the UFC. I mean, I don't know if he gets enough respect for what he's done. And I think Kevin has also pointed out that, hey, he had some tricks up his sleeve that he didn't expect. He was very experienced. He's a great fighter. He's just the man, So let's be clear about that. Maybe it just would have been a more competitive fight. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know how to look at it, and I want to stop short of being a homer. But that that was tough. And then Robert Follis, and then he also explained to us he's possibly shifting his management team. So a lot of things are different, so I was really glad that we could have that catch-up with him.
But he's not leaving Vegas. He was pretty clear about that. So really, I mean, there are a lot of options in Vegas, but there's not that many where we can't kind of figure this out, right? So I wonder where he is going to end up.
Yeah, that's a good question. He said he's still staying with Extreme Couture. That's his lead gym. The UFC PI is just where he spends a lot of time. I don't know if we've talked about this place enough, but for one, I think it's just, if you're a high-profile fighter, it's not the end of the world to be in a building where you can run into your matchmaker and the president and just, throw hints and, leave an apple on their desk. I don't know, but just kind of become a favorite. You know what I mean? I don't think it's a bad idea. Two, you're working with world-class nutritionists and physical therapists, strength and conditioning coaches, and you have everything at your disposal. Excuse me. You can go from an ice bath to a swimming pool, and you're not traveling around from gym to gym, city to city. It's all literally right there. Plus, two free meals. You know what I mean? That's cooked to your order. They have chefs there. I think you'll find probably a coach within Vegas. And to compliment Dewey Cooper, but it's good that he's taking time off. It really is. I think a lot of fighters want to get into it right away after a loss, and sometimes it's worked out. It's not like it's never worked out or it's the most horrible strategy I've ever heard. But at the same time, I just think that because he's so young and he's done so much, and plus he's been pretty active, I think he could use this time off and then figure out what's next. Look, back by popular demand, you guys have been bugging me. I'm going to do a quick NFL roundup. It really took off towards the end of the year.
I kind of liked it. Let's do that.
Yeah? Okay. Yeah. Let's do it. So, in the NFL on Saturday, the Ravens took care of the Colts 23-16. The Vikings shut out the Packers 16-0. That made my buddy Big Ralph pretty happy. His team is probably going to have the run of the home field advantage in the NFC. And they have a great defense, and I believe.
Congratulations to Aaron! It's one of his favorite 5 teams, right?
It is. I think the Super Bowl is being played there, right? So it could also almost wind up being a home game throughout the playoffs. Even though the Super Bowl divides the tickets, I think it's a percentage of this team, a percentage of that team, and then there's corporations. Still, the feel that it's within your city, that's rarely been done. So they have a really good chance to do something special. Also, I want to give a shout out to the aforementioned Big Ralph. Along with his caveman buddies, them guys and me and the Goodfellas have been butting heads over this college pools that we do. Okay. We do a college pool. What do you call that? I guess college pool. Yeah, pick 'em. I was gonna say a tournament or something. Yeah, it's just a pool. And I incorrectly said that it was 1-1. They have beaten us 2 in a row, so apologies on that. We beat them in March Madness. And it all just kind of piled up. I knew we had beaten them in something, but he corrected me and demanded a public apology. So I said, all right, yeah, I guess I'll give it to you. That's true. That was just a bold-faced lie. I got it wrong. For anyone that's asking how we're doing this year, though, I'm certainly not confused about this year. I'm leading the way with 78 points. Big Ralph coming in second, 66 points. And our Goodfellas team is winning 220 to their 150. But back to the NFL, the really, really popular NFL roundup that's really taken off at the end of the year. On Sunday, The Bengals defeated the Detroit Lions 26-17. The Chiefs beat the Dolphins 29-13. The Patriots, it was close for a while, but then they smoked the Bills 37-16. The Bears won over the Browns. Who hasn't beaten the Browns? They're 0-15 for crying out loud. 20-3. The Panthers had a close one against the Buccaneers, 22-19. The Saints defeated the Atlanta Falcons 23-13. The Falcons may have one last shot to get in the playoffs. I can't remember. The Redskins defeated the Denver Broncos 27-11. Remember how tough the Broncos started off?
Yeah.
And I think they were like 3-1. They finished 5-10. They still one more game left. The Rams beat the Titans 27-23. The Chargers defeated the Jets 14-0. And in the afternoon games, the 49ers defeated the Jaguars. The Jaguars have the number 1 D in the NFL. The 49ers thought none of that because they put 44 up on them. Jimmy G is 5-0 as the 49ers quarterback. Seattle defeated the Dallas Cowboys 21-12. But, that tends to happen because it's tough to beat a team at home. Oh, wait a minute. They were in Dallas. I missed that. They were in Dallas, and they beat them there. Dallas. All I kept hearing from fans were, well, we don't got Ezekiel Elliott. Otherwise, we'd be there competing. Well, he ran for 96 yards. You had him this time. You still lost. I told you guys it wasn't Elliott. It's just you guys had a soft schedule the year before. You have a great offensive line. Dak had all time to pass. And when all that's not running smoothly, it's just not that great of a team.
Is that the Dallas game you're talking about?
The Dallas team.
According to our producer Danny, he picked them all right except for that game.
Really?
Yeah, that's the one game he picked wrong.
Danny, with or without a spread?
No spread, just winners and losers.
That's still impressive. Yeah. The guys on Inside the NFL on Showtime, sometimes they have like 6-9. You see that? Phil Simms will go 6-9. I'm like, fuck.
There are a bit of homers too, though.
I guess, yeah. The Cardinals won 23-0. They blanked the Giants. The Steelers. No, they actually played the game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The Steelers defeated the Texans 34-6. The Texans put up a TD at the end. Otherwise, they would have got blanked. The Raiders lost to the Eagles. And the Eagles are 13-2, and they'll probably get the home field advantage there. So that's it. One more week left of NFL football. Coming up is the college football. All the bowls are really, that pool we're in. Those are happening. But the big four is Georgia, Oklahoma, and Alabama and Clemson. And then we'll have a national champion. Now, for those of you that are confused, I know some of you are going, well, why are those four playing for the national championship? I thought you said Mater Dei is the national champion. Mater Dei is the national champion for all of the high schools in the United States. So I just wanted to make sure people avoided confusion. All right, so back to Lineker and Rivera, man. I'm really bummed this didn't happen. And I don't know if Ali Abdelaziz or Marlon, if they were playing a negotiation game, and if they did and then that's the money, then I guess it worked. But in the public eye, this kind of looks like a fail a little bit, right? You're saying, hey, I'm ready to fight. You're dodging me, and you're asking for these demands, and then the other guy's going, all right, I'll give them to you. Now, where's the fight? Because as a fan, I'm going like, I really want that fight. And I don't know Jimmy Rivera. But when Marlon said, I'll do this, I was standing behind Marlon like this. Yeah, Jimmy, your move. And now that Jimmy's made his moves, I feel like all of a sudden somebody just came from behind us and whoop, pants Marlon and I. We're standing there going, we're out of here. We have nothing to say. We're out of here, Just kind of covering up
hard to say,
and
though.
bowing out.
Back-to-back fights for the kid.
No, that's true.
Right? It's hard to really question.
That's
you're
true.
Right. The situation is kind of weird. If I had to put my finger on it, nobody's going to go through what it takes to get through the holidays. For him to take this fight or want to fight, that means he skipped out on Christmas, right? Eating and doing all that crap, right? No, Marlon. If he had it in his head that he was going to do it.
Yeah.
He's not going to do that for nothing. In other words, I don't think he skipped out on Christmas and then play this game to see what's going to happen. I think he knows deep down inside whether he was going to fight or not.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't track it. These were 4 days that we took off that I really wanted to unplug a little bit, and I did. I just kind of scanned the news, and I kept seeing that stuff pop up, and saw Marlon put a video, and then I kept seeing, I can't make 35, 36, 38, 40, and then on the way home last night from Cali, I thought Rivera said, all right, fuck it, 145, let's fight. And I thought, it's got to be a done deal. I can't wait to talk about this tomorrow. And now I'm hearing there's no fight. I'm bummed.
Yeah, that is a bummer. It was a fight that I was looking forward to. Matchup-wise, I'm a fan of both guys. I mean, Lineker in any matchup gets me excited, and even Rivera. I've been a big fan of Rivera coming from the regional scenes. So it's kind of heartbreaking. You know, he was in line to what was his original matchup, was a former champion, Dominic Cruz, on the year-end show. You know, we talk about that bump. You know, we talk about fighters. You need that bump. You need that matchup. You need that showcase to get you the platform to start screaming into the mic. And he had that. It was kind of taken away. Still got a good name in John Lineker, and now a week out, that's taken away. So heartbreak, especially around Christmas time. I can't imagine that's easy for the Riveras, or around Christmas time.
Yeah.
I don't imagine these fighters are. It's not like they're really getting taken care of with their win bonus. We're not seeing that. Maybe as freely sprinkled and behind the scenes as it once was. So it's really kind of a heartbreaking side on both sides of this equation, guys.
Put yourself in his shoes, people, for a second. All right, you're Jimmy Rivera. You have a fight against a former champion, and that gets taken away.
Mm-hmm.
Picture your girlfriend broke up with you. Whatever that felt like, that's probably what that felt like.
Yeah.
Then you get another opponent, and you're like, cool. I can still make some money. It's the holidays. I'm sacrificing. And then that gets taken away. That's like maybe getting fired from your job or something, right? And then you realize the money you were counting on is no longer there, and you're not closer to what you wanted to be, is the champion, right? Get closer with every fight. Now you can't do that. You know how much that must suck? How bad that must feel, especially around this time? That sucks.
Yeah.
Dude. It's not like he's Chris Penn either. It's not like from Reservoir Dogs. It's not like this is happening out of the blue, because Jimmy Rivera has been on a 21 fight winning streak. So it's not like he hasn't been working toward this. You know what I'm saying too. So this isn't out of the blue. This is it's a rough situation.
Chris Penn, may he rest in peace.
Yeah.
But that fucker blew me off one time, man. And I had to tell him something on the way out.
It was like in the restroom. I mean,
it was
a line from like, what was it, True Romance?
It was a line from True Romance. This one's for Cody, or something like that. He says, right?
Yeah.
And I saw him go, "Hey, this one's for Cody." I pointed my hand, like in the gun form, and he goes, "What's that?" And I go, "Remember True Romance?" He goes, "Oh man, I don't remember all the lines from my movies." And I stood there like a chump, And as he was walking out, I was like, "Bitch, you ain't Sean. You haven't had that many, But
wow,
just I don't know. I mean, like, he could have just went like, "Oh yeah, I think I said that," or I mean.
See, he could have gave you shit and responded with a quote if he used the one I just did from Reservoir Dogs. A big George, you expect me to shake your hand
Jester,
out of the fucking phone?
Jester do that to me too?
He did that to Charlie.
Oh, Jester did it to Charlie?
Yeah, he jacked Charlie up. Remember he told him, "You paid for that haircut?" Jester from Top Gun.
Right.
But
yeah.
Charlie,
in
to
the
be
airport,
fair,
right?
Charlie,
Were you there?
Yeah. To be fair, Charlie thought he was the dad from. He thought he was the bad guy from RoboCop, and he was like, "Bitch, I wasn't in no RoboCop."
I thought I had either another incident with, not an incident, but an exchange with Jester, or maybe that one was it. But I thought there was something with Jester, with Top Gun, with a quote, or I forget, and
Bingo, Maverick stick.
Yeah, and then just kind of like, I don't know.
Would he rank above Chris Penn? Is Chris Penn, like Undertaker is to goes for you, or is it,
No, because I felt like I got a shot on the way out.
Okay.
But goes with Undertaker. We were just.
I feel like I got shot on the way out.
Yeah, because I mean, he was a little kid then, and that exchange was just completely unnecessary on his part. I mean, you get blinded by all the flashes there, and all of a sudden he's got a problem with a picture being taken. You know what I mean? And now, does he even make it nowadays in TMZ? TMZ's walking, like, you walk out of the airport terminal, they're just and there's like 8 or 10 of them, just like this.
Yeah.
So that's why they have the glasses and the hoods and the caps, and because really that's their space.
Yeah.
Now, granted, Goes and I were we were back in the Honda Center,
the pond back then.
Yeah, the bowels of the arena.
Mm-hmm.
We shouldn't have been there, but regardless, there were other people there that were kind of doing the same thing. Anyway.
You know what really pisses me off about that incident is since then, everyone's gone out of their way to say what a nice guy he is and how out of character that must have been. He must have just had like a shit day or I don't know what.
He's one of the best drivers ever, though, right?
Yeah, that was another incident.
Couldn't keep up with him, man.
That we've never told.
Yeah.
Have we told that story?
I don't know. Was it the same night?
Actually, it might have been before.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, and I doubt he remembers that.
Well,
That's
no, he
why
can't.
He acted that way, but yeah, he's a great driver.
MMA Junkie radio co-host and MMA Junkie contributor Dan Tom has provided an in-depth breakdown to all of UFC 219's main card bouts. Today we look at the main event. Now, Dan, we're not going to sit here and read it. while we do the show live. But this is your chance to really flex. You know what I mean? You put in a lot of work on these, and now that it's public, tell us about Home and Cyborg, which goes down on Saturday. It is the main event, and hopefully these ladies deliver a classic, because we just lost a good fight, man. You know, I think all those fights are kind of like they're appetizers to the main course. And so these other appetizers that are there, Habib, Barbosa, whoever, I hope they're tasty, you know, and all of a sudden we have a great main course too. But tell me about this fight, Home versus Cyborg.
I gotta be honest. I think I'm on opposite side there of Kevin Lee, but I like Kevin Lee's breakdown. You know, he said a lot of things that are true. Home has a countering style. She's a stick and move stylist, and she does better with aggressive opponents. However, she's also had trouble with, you know, we thought it would be grapplers, guys, but she's had trouble with strikers, skilled strikers who can stay cool under fire and even fire back. You know, more particularly Muay Thai strikers from Jermaine Durandamy, Shevchenko. So you got Cyborg in there. It's real tough, and a lot of people are trying to break down the striking. But you know what actually separates me, guys, from this matchup and why I'm siding with Cyborg? It's not so much the striking. Don't get me wrong. Cyborg's counter right hand is going to be at play, just like Shevchenko's and Durandamy's was. But it's in the grappling where I feel that the skills takes a big gap. Like, Kevin's totally right. I would not be surprised if Home could frustrate with Cyborg with her movement. You know, catch her with the right kick. You know, Cyborg is not beyond being hit, guys. Like, I totally get that, but I just see such a big skills gap potentially on the ground that I think it's going to be bad news if Cyborg corrals her and takes her there. And she's got really good wrestling, but that's kind of how my feel on the fight is.
And you said inside the distance, so this doesn't see the judges' scorecards.
Yeah, I'm thinking that frustrating movement that I talked to you guys about, I'm thinking that kind of stymies the action early. And I think also on Cyborg's end, she's not a brute. She's a very intelligent and technical fighter. I think she's going to respect Home, so I think that's going to slow it up early. But in the breakdown, I actually call for a third-round TKO. I think it ends up happening on the floor as well. I think that's where this fight gets stopped.
I have had my lenses on of the gambler, and I'm looking at Home. I've been staring at Home for months now, since that line came out. There's also the gun to the head scenario. Take off the glass. Oh, whoa, there's a gun at my temple. Oh, yeah. No, I don't want any problems. I got Cyborg, you know. But I'm going to go back and forth on this a little bit. Right now, I am probably leaning towards Cyborg. You know, I'm not in the picks contest anywhere near the top, so my pick doesn't matter as much. But I feel like I at least want to get it right. However, come fight night, you may see me put out an underdog par or something like that. How can you not roll the dice a little bit on Home? I really like her footwork, and you either got to stop a takedown. Back in the old days, the fucking sprawl would get it done. You know what I mean?
Right.
Now we're seeing wrist control. Whitaker's really good at that.
Yep.
Remember Frankie Edgar? We went through an era where he would just underhook you and then push your chest off. You know what I mean? So there's so many different ways that you can do it. Cyborg's going to approach takedowns different than Ronda did. But I really like the way Home was able to use her footwork and never really get into certain troubles of the close quarters with Ronda using the footwork. So we'll see how she does that with Cyborg. So I feel like there's opportunities there. I love the head kick. You know, she's money with that. Her hands. You mentioned something that I knew. I just hadn't thought about it much in talking about this fight. What frustrated me a little bit about Home's fight against Shevchenko, and I had no problem with it because A, I like Shevchenko. B, I bet Shevchenko. But that fight, I still felt like I wanted to see the ladies at their best. I couldn't believe that Home didn't deviate from her attack to Shevchenko. She kept getting hit with that counter right hook over and over again. And I kept thinking, is her I made a mental note. Is her fight IQ just lower than I thought it was? You know what I mean? Because how did Shevchenko just keep doing the same thing over and over, and neither her nor her coaches seem to make the adjustment? Am I missing something there?
No, you're not missing it. Actually, you're touching on the one thing that usually is the deciding factor on whether I'm going to go for or against Holly Holm. I think she has good fight IQ. I think the word here is you hear a lot of times guys throw out, that's a rote striker, or that combination was rote. I think she's more rote. Yeah, and I don't.
How do you spell that?
Like rote, like I wrote something, like I wrote you a letter.
Okay.
Like, so I guess it may kind of come off as negative, not how it's intended, but it's more meant like someone's programmed to throw the 1-3-2 instead of going 2-3-1, 3-2-1, 1-2-3, and varying. We'll see certain fighters that are more combination based, and the thing is, when you're so finely tuned like a fighter jet, which is kind of how I equate Holly Holm, it's so impressive when you look at her discipline, and she has great risk management. You know, if you're betting money on Holly Holm, she's not going to deviate. She's not going to throw wild spinning stuff and get knocked out. You know, that is not her, and that is good. But the negative to that is you can kind of, like George was saying, you can kind of predict that. And we've seen the more, which is probably why she's had more trouble with proficient strikers than what we thought grapplers, is because proficient strikers can pick up on these patterns, are a little more used to that, and that's what's impressive about Cyborg, guys. Cyborg, it feels like she's been around longer than Holm, but she's 4 years younger, and despite, you know, having a decade of big fights and going even beyond, I think she's been fighting since, 2002, 2004, Cyborg is still evolving, and that's what impresses me most. You know, this recent iteration with Jason Perillo, even when things weren't going well, she went out and took Muay Thai fights and got better. You know, working wrestling, working jiu-jitsu in the Southern California scene, and that's what really impresses me. We're seeing little different versions of Cyborg, but we really haven't gotten to see her against a suitable, quote-unquote suitable opponent. No disrespect to any of the ladies. A lot of times it was the circumstances and short notice. But now we get it. We have the big name, and I think that's why we see the line here. Now, as a home bettor, I actually was hoping to see a bigger line variation, guys. I thought Cyborg would be a little bit of a bigger favorite, lest we not forget she's one of those 1,000 favorite marks. But plus 335, I mean, I don't blame anybody for taking the shot. I would not be surprised. It wouldn't be like the Ronda Rousey thing, you know, if she wins. So hats off to the dog money going at home, but I guess that's my read, that predictability George's saying. I think Cyborg zeroes in on it and can use that.
Well, it sounds almost like you're describing a football team that scripts their first 15 plays,
yes,
you know, and Holm works on a game plan and tries to execute it, but sometimes she's hard-pressed to remove herself from it, even if she's having attrition rather than success.
Yeah, and then the flip side to that is if it's round 3 and Cyborg still hasn't picked up on that, then that game plan starts pulling away like a racehorse. It starts getting further down the line with points. So if you're a home bettor and it goes past round 3, I think your percentage has to start going up for her winning the fight if it makes it that deep, right? And she's fine.
Who do you like, Goose?
I'm leaning towards Holly Holm.
All right.
But I think for it to happen, it has to happen in the later rounds when Cyborg tires. The only problem is, I mean, you got to take some punches from Cyborg for that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't know how many of those Holly can take at this point in her career. She has been knocked out in boxing really bad. She's taken some shots in her career, but, I mean, this is Cyborg. You know, she hits really, really hard. So I don't know how many she can take, but maybe around round 3, 4, if she can hang that far, I could see her actually landing. Anytime you see Chris get tired in a fight, the hands do go a little low, and I could see that kick landing, but it'd have to be way later. But I'm sort of leaning towards Holly a little bit with that.
The first embedded's already out, so
okay.
Holidays are over and time to get our game faces on. Condit, Magny, Calvillo, Esparza. You know, if we had hung on to Rivera versus Lineker, or Moraes would have stepped up. Yeah. I actually couldn't say much about this main card. I'd be pretty down with it, but that was a hard loss. And the prelims, we'll see. You know, at this point, I've seen better prelims on paper, but we'll see how they play out. Roundtree versus Okajuk, Diakise versus Hooker, Glenn versus Jury, Nicolau versus Smolka, Akhmedov versus Vittori, and De La Rosa versus Tim Elliott.
Who do you think they insert in there, GG, from the swing card bout if they don't keep Rivera on the card from our suspects?
I think they're not going to get away from Roundtree because he's a tough guy,
right?
From Ultimate Fighter, and I think once that's set, they leave it alone. So Diakise Hooker, maybe?
Love me some Diakise, by the way.
Yeah.
Or what about Elliott? Elliott, his fights aren't boring. They're usually entertaining. He's got a little bit of that unorthodox style of fighting. I'm not saying identical to Tony Ferguson, but you know how Ferguson, you just don't know what's next? I think Elliott kind of is similar to him. Versus Mark De La Rosa, maybe he could put him over. Or if he beats De La Rosa, you know, you're hanging an L on somebody who's never lost before. So I think they'll probably just pick someone
from the fight pass
portion. The fight pass, move them up, not shake things up. I mean, Jury was
sense.
On the reality show. Glenn was on NBC Sports. Diakise, you feel like can always put a highlight up. Nicolau, by the way, didn't he upset Moraga or years ago?
Moraga upset him, I believe. I think he was favored to win against Moraga.
Nicolau upset Jose.
Oh yeah, I think he might have upset. Yeah, I forget.
He upset someone. Well, we'll pull it up.
Yeah, and then he popped positive, I think, and he's coming back. This is his first fight back.
Yeah, he beat
the following.
Talented young kid, though.
Yeah, he beat Moraga. Split decision.
He's getting a lot of.
I lost money on that fight. I think I had Moraga.
That
was in Brazil or something like that.
That was a rough one.
We better take one more break, right, Danny? Is that where we're sitting?
That's right.
All right, let's do that. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93. Stay close, folks. We'll be right back as we wrap things up here on a Tuesday. It's December. That just kind of starts from the top and whittles its way down. So what Goes and I want to talk. I don't know if I can wait all the way from Saturday to another Tuesday to talk about what happens. Maybe we'll pop up on the Facebook and do a live or something like that. All right, we'll be right back, folks.
Hey, idiot! Yeah, you! Can you please tap that rather large fellow on the shoulder and tell him it's time for more MMA Junkie Radio with Gorgeous George and Goes? Thank you.
Alrighty, we're back. Hope you all had a great Christmas. And to those that don't celebrate Christmas, I hope you're enjoying your holiday season. Season's greetings to you all. UFC 219's on Saturday. Please check out Dan Tom's breakdown on the front page of MMA Junkie. It just dropped this morning, and of course he went into some more specifics here on the show. Earlier we had Kevin Lee, so if you missed any part of that show, punch in that SiriusXM app and check it out. Commercial free, HD quality. Caught up on a lot. The loss of Robert Follis in his life, not just as a coach but as a mentor, as a friend, and getting past that. That was very difficult times for him to close out 2017, and in 2017 he also took a loss to Tony Ferguson. He went through a lot there, but he seemed in pretty good spirits, right? Just to kind of
But he kind of always does, doesn't he? Like he's one of those guys that can find the silver lining in it.
Yeah.
I could also see him on that Fox desk too with that little breakdown. Even he just gave us. I could totally see him up there. So hopefully there's more seeds being planted for Mr. Lee.
Yeah.
He'd have to make some adjustments. I don't know if he could go.
It is what it is.
No, Well, you know,
he
if
had
Edson
two.
Barboza wasn't a bitch, I think he would he'd probably have to make a few tweaks here and there. But yeah, you're right.
He had some. He had 2 strikes though. It is what it is, right?
He had like 3.
Did he have 3?
Oh wow.
I was hoping the third one would land a minute 15 into the show when he was scheduled to leave anyway, and just go, you know what? That's it. Just you got to go.
Get out of here.
Yeah, that way we could front like we really, punted him because of that infraction. When in reality he had to go meet Emil Meek. That's the Viking guy, right?
Yeah, the beard guy. Yeah.
Yeah, he's in town. But is he fighting soon?
Kamaru Usman. That fight's been getting bounced around.
Is
now
it
it's
on?
officially.
It's not. He had visa problems. He's in fucking Vegas. How can he have visa problems?
UC
I guess there's
St. Louis, I
visa
guess.
to get in and visa to work, maybe.
Yeah, he said he was clear for it. It's just the process of it. It wasn't like anything he did wrong. It's just the process takes a while. Apparently, someone got in their ear though because they conveniently expedited his request, and now according to Google here, the fight is set for UFC St. Louis versus Kamaru Usman.
I was afraid it wasn't going to happen. Things were looking pretty meek at one point.
Nice one, guys. Let's talk to Marco in Waco, Texas. What's up, Marco? How you doing?
Marco from Waco. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, whatever else you celebrate, guys.
Hey, thanks, Marco.
Oh,
You too.
man, no Festivus? Jesus.
Wow.
Happy Cthulhu Day, whatever. Hey, Ghost, what are you going to do when Max Calloway go to the freaking studio? Because he got a teacher that says it is what it is, man.
Well, we have an understanding, and I think you could tell by the last time he was on the show, he didn't say it one time. So I think out of respect, he knows that just doesn't fly in this house.
Oh, my God. Well, doesn't he get the championship section?
Maybe. Yeah, you might be able to get a few.
Hey.
Bring me a churro.
And Marlon Moraes is not looking too good with this call out of Rivera, man. Because, I think Rivera called his bluff. If you're not going to take the fight and you're going to make excuses, might as well don't raise your hand, Marlon Moraes, because it doesn't look good, man. He said, oh, you're ducking me. Finally, Rivera said yes, and then he says, oh, thank you, no thanks. Bad look. I'm still picking Holly Holm, though. I think I keep thinking about the Jorina Bars fight with Cyborg. Jorina Bars was the better striker and counter Cyborg the whole fight. And if Holly Holm follow that blueprint, we might have something there, man. I'll catch you guys tomorrow, guys. I'm still getting off this freaking flu. Man, they kick my ass all week. Peace out.
All right, see you, Marco.
I mean, the situation is weird, right? But again, it's hard to really question the guy's character because of what Marlon Moraes.
Yeah.
Because of what he's been able to pull off, and I don't know. I mean, we're definitely. It sucks because on paper it's a good fight, really good fight.
For sure, it's off.
I mean, it seems like it.
Did they tell Rivera go eat a cake? You're not fighting. Nothing like that.
Just a
Or
lot.
could there be an 11th hour decision?
The latest tweets that I saw from the reporters following it is that there is still room for an 11th hour decision, but not likely. And usually that'd be my attitude, not likely, and I wouldn't even get my hopes up for these type of short notice fights, especially with a guy like Rivera who has so much on the line. But I think this one's a little different because it's a guy in A. Moraes who. It shows that he not just likes, but will put his money where his mouth is and can perform on quick turnarounds. And 2, before that Aljo fight, he was calling for Jimmy Rivera. There was personal, anguish attached.
Right.
So this was a short notice fight that I actually could sign on for. And no matter who won, I would take neither away from the guy, despite the short notice intangible, just because the high level, the history. So I think this is one we could all get behind, which is what makes it kind of sting.
Big shout out to Mindra.
Oh yes.
Yeah, Mike and Kendra. I was like, what's her name? And I'm like, Mindra. Okay, Mike and Kendra from Humboldt. Shout out to them. Sent us a package for Christmas. That was really, really cool. Cupcake Katie. We came home and there was a box from her as well. We came in at 2 a.m. So all I know is Juliet was like, yay, and looking at some box. And I still don't know what's in that box, though. But she just goes,
they're truffles.
What's in the box?
Really, really good.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Okay, so you already had some?
I've had some. Well, yeah, I did have some from there. But, yeah, they're really, really good. You'll like them.
Yeah. So thank you again, And I did want to say something. Man, the Junkies are really cool. And over the years' time, they've given us a bunch of stuff. If we've ever forgotten, it's not intentional, honestly. I felt bad because the other day I hung out with Hal. He was here for 24 hours. And he wasn't sure if I knew that a pizza had arrived. and he had sent some. And I was like, oh, yeah. You know, I think we're down to 2 or 1 out of 6 or 10 or whatever
there's
came.
a few still.
Yeah, and I go, hell yeah. So I felt bad because we were raised to say thank you and please and, you know, all that stuff. And frankly, there's just times I guess we space it. But it's not because we don't appreciate it. We do. I guess a couple slipped through the cracks. So thank you to those people. Thank you to Hal for those pizzas. That was really cool. I remember one time he also sent us to a basketball game here at Mandalay Bay. And Goes and I went thinking, well, who the fuck's Oakland? I mean, I know they're the city that has the Raiders and the A's and whatever. But I didn't even know it was a college that had a basketball team. Who'd they play? Old Dominion or someone from?
I think it was. I was gonna say Seton Hall, but I think it was Old Dominion.
Yeah, and so Goes and I went. It were great seats. We were sitting there, and we could hear all the trash talk, and it actually turned out to be a good game. Remember?
Yeah, remember we had that girl that wouldn't shut up behind us.
Yeah.
Oh man, I wanted to.
Oakland had this guy that was like 5'8", man, but he was like probably the best player on the court. But it was really, really a great game. So, like I said, over the years we've got a lot of stuff.
Sent us the sandwiches, the dip, the French dip.
Oh, you get me hungry now. Come on.
Junior from Chicago, remember?
Yeah.
The roast beef sandwiches that he sent us.
I think so, but that wasn't this year,
you're
right?
in too deep at this point.
Well,
Just go, yeah, that was dope.
Well, that wasn't this year, though.
No.
Oh, okay, because I was like, I didn't see that. I'm thinking, I walked in, I saw the Katie box, and then I remember the thing in California with Mindra. That's what I was thinking. I didn't see it yet. Okay, yeah, years past, yes.
Well, I'm glad you gave that shout out because all those people you mentioned. Thank you, by the way, for the from the cards to well wishes, thoughts, gifts, pizzas, and in Hal's case, seriously, just being junkies in general. I'm glad you brought that up because I was talking to Go. It's been crazy holiday time for a lot of people and just everybody's for one reason or another. And one of my grounding things this year, especially toward the end, down the stretch of 2017, was the junkies keeping me in line, reminding me why we're such a strong community, and they come strong every year.
They certainly do. It's great to show up here and do our jobs. I missed it. Even though it was 4 days off, I missed it. And but it was just a situation where we had 4 days to burn. And who honestly can't take a few days off and go back to California, which is what Goes and I did. That's where we're from.
Nice.
All right, folks. So, again, I hope you had a great holiday. We'll be with you throughout the week. We are left with Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I can tell you, noted MMA manager Alex Davis will co-host Thursday's show with us. Stitch Duran will co-host Friday's show with us. It's his birthday that day too, so it should be fun.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. The belly dancers are making a return as well.
We got them.
Yeah. So it's gonna be a really, really cool show. We'll try and have some more fighters via the phone. We're also going to do a pre-record as well. So we have some busy times here. We're going to be receiving teddy bears for Cyborg Nation. Stick it out with us, folks. It's going to be a great time as we look forward to UFC 219. For Danny and Dan and Goes, I'm George. Go out there and be champions.